So it's 6:30. I'll call the meeting to order. I'm going to start with remote meeting procedures and get that going. So in keeping with an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency as amended by Governor Baker on February 12, 2022, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by committee members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will broadcast live and record on ECAT. While conducting meetings remotely, we'll endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to standard procedures as possible. However, the use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocol. So while committee members will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendees, meaning they're muted with no video feed. And during the public portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raise hand function, or they could make a request with the Q&A feature. If you're joining only by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand, and then if an applicant wishes to display materials, they can make the request of the chair. When starting any testimony or comments, please state your name and address for the record. Business will be handled at the times indicated on the agenda. This is not concluded in the allotted time will be tabled until the end of the meeting to allow for timely logins and remote attendance. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion and second so that it will be clear to the audience and minute takers who made motions. All votes will be by roll call, and when all business indicated on the agenda has completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meeting, signaling the end of the meeting. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. All right, so to confirm we have quorum, let's go around in alphabetical order and confirm attendance.
Barger.
Bornstein.
And
Kristen. Oops, sorry.
Moore.
Chili.
okay, awesome. And I see Kathy is joining as well. So, and then I think Kathy has to join via telephone only, and that's, oh, there you are, you made it. You're on mute, though, but you made it. Were you speed racing? Were you speeding? Yeah, you were. Well, thank you. Thank you for making it. What was I going to say? So the only thing for the meeting minutes, I guess we'll start off with reviewing and approving our meeting minutes distributed by Kelly on April 8th. I didn't think that Kristen was on the call. Anybody remember? So bad.
I'm not sure that she was, but we can get a record from Zoom of the attendees. Okay.
All right, Kelly, so we'll confirm that and then I'll send a confirmation back to you. Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
After we confirm. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, we'll go around and vote.
Barger, yes.
Weinstein, yes.
And yes?
Devonshire, yes. Gershman,
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Kathy. I can't get alphabetical order to save my life. Gershman, yes.
Moore, yes.
Chili, yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everyone. All right, the first, the next item on our agenda is our Pride event, and lots and lots of activity here. Amy, do you want to start off? Do you want me to start off? Let me know.
Yeah, I can start off. There's a few things that we should decide tonight based on some correspondence with folks, but I don't know. I'm not feeling amazing, so I'll probably drop off after this or just listen. But anyway, a few things. The flyer is done. There's one more small tweak. I'm just waiting for my husband to make it, and then we can share freely. NRT can't host a web page for us like they do for their other events, so I created one on our site and sent the link a few days ago. So if anyone wants to add to it or has thoughts or feedback, just let me know. Just send it directly to me and I'll make the changes. The Facebook listing came through from the town, which is great. I think it's already up to 70+ people, and we haven't even promoted it, which is awesome. I will say Mike was going to make me an administrator for the Facebook page, and we haven't figured out how to do that yet. It didn't work for some reason, so I can't make edits freely yet, just FYI. But he's willing to make them for us, but I'd like to like either batch them or, do minimal just so I'm not super annoying, which I'm pretty sure I already am to him. One of the decisions we should make is, so Courtney had reached out to Wayne Potash about performing at the event, and he's happy to do it. But when I reached out, he asked about the sound system, and he would have to do his own setup because the NRT doesn't have it. So now he would have done it for free if he could just walk in and perform. But now he's asking for to be paid, which I totally understand and respect. So he usually charges $500 for an event like that, and he said he'd give it to us for $3. So we need to decide, and I told him I would try to get back to him after tonight's meeting. So try to decide if we want to continue down that route and how we would potentially pay him.
So we would pay through our sponsorships, right? For the event?
Yeah, I just don't know. I guess I'll ask him if he would need the money up front. Is this something that we want? It wasn't something that we budgeted for, I don't think. I'm fine with it. I especially after talking to Kathy. Kathy said that he's great. I haven't heard him before. But...
Yes, he's fun.
What's his name? Wayne Potash.
Wayne Potash. Lives on what, North Main Street?
It's more, it's like, I think it's like.
It's like Toe Jam Puppet Band. Would he be changing it for the audience, or is he intending to do a kids show? I only know his kids' music.
I think he'd probably just do his standard stuff.
Okay. I mean, that's like the 8 and under set.
Although I think he can do, I think he does adult stuff too. So I think
so too.
That might be worth asking.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, tell us about what's happening with the sponsorship. Have we raised any money or?
I don't know. I reached out to Courtney earlier this week. I think she was waiting for me and I was waiting for her. She had wanted to add a really high sponsorship level, and Karen and I talked a few times and decided to not do that. I think we were, I don't know, we could go on and on about it, but anyway, the sponsorship letter is finalized, and I sent it to her. And I haven't heard back yet. That was maybe 2 or 3 days ago. I don't know if you've spoken with her or not, Karen.
No, I haven't, but we can definitely follow up before tomorrow's meeting.
Okay.
And if somebody wants to give us a huge amount of money, they can still give it to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we did was we were looking at sponsorship levels and then corresponding actions that would go along with those levels, right? So if you give a certain amount, then we would post on our webpage or, different types of additional marketing. And so that's what we were discussing with Courtney. Through her experience in fundraising, that was something that she recommended. So we adjusted the levels based on her feedback and adjusted some of the what else could we do in terms of marketing based on her feedback. And I think now we're at a finalization, so we can move that forward.
So I think we still have funds in the town account because we didn't end up using them for the t-shirts. That was covered by the Stonehill money. I don't know how Stonehill would feel about sponsoring anything for this event. I'm not sure how specifically that lines up with other positions the university takes on things, but I think we have enough money in our town account that we could use that 300.
I think they would have a hard time being a sponsor for, I will say it's probably the most gay-friendly Catholic college that you could find that's out there. But I don't think John would have an issue. I think the issue is the brothers and the order, and they have to answer to the bishop.
So Craig, if you're able, next time you're at town hall or something, to just confirm with whoever does our budgets what the current amount in the account is, so we know whether it's enough to cover, that would be a good fallback if the sponsorship doesn't pan out.
Okay.
I was going to suggest that that maybe Karen reach out to Dottie regarding some resource before our next board meeting is it's the evening of town meeting, so that's not a good time. So it's probably going to have to be the following. But you might want to reach out to Dottie Olginetti and ask her about the possibility of accessing some of the. It's not Stonehill money now. It's Easton's. It's the town of Easton's money.
Yeah.
So if the select board were approached and agreed to help pay for that, I think that's perfectly legitimate. But why don't you reach out to Dottie, Karen, as the chair, and ask her. I will check with Wendy Nightingale about it. What resources is still available in the account?
This is on the website. Could we put in make a donation? Is there a way to put that
Yeah, the
in?
sponsorship letter is there. I can make it more prominent for sure.
Like even because I'm trying to pull it up now to my Facebook account. And is there something where it basically says make a donation? I'm looking at it. Obviously we can talk about it more tomorrow. I just didn't know.
Craig, you can take that off your to-do list. Sorry, I just found the email from Wendy that had $460 as earmarked money. So I know that for certain.
Something else I'd love to get money for and do sooner rather than later is like some yard signs to put out around town. That was in our budget. Like we need to do it this week if we're gonna do it. So I don't know. Maybe we can talk more about it tomorrow night. But thank you for the number, Liz. Okay.
I think it's important. I'm sorry. I think it's important for Karen to reach out to Dottie just to make sure that makes sense to ask. Say we have this money in the account. We just want to make sure that it's cool for us to pay for Wayne's performance.
Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely reach out, and I'll just mention that it would just be basically allowing us to utilize the funds, the $460 for Pride event activities, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be overly specific just in case we make shifts in that. And then I guess my question would be based on the sponsorship piece. Actually, maybe there's no question. Okay. That's good. I'll definitely do that.
And I'm sure we'll talk more about this tomorrow. He wouldn't be playing the whole time, correct?
No, I don't think so. Maybe like an hour.
So I wonder, right, especially if we're doing signs and stuff, when we're looking, again, we can talk more about it tomorrow. It's if we had a combination. I'm still trying to think of a DJ. So if we have like a family friendly thing, and then it's like from these hours to these hours, that's when he'll be there. And then if we have just a general DJ, that might help as well.
Yeah, and I think I know Courtney reached out to a DJ in town, and they were unavailable. I think the challenge will be whether or not we can secure one for a mid-June Saturday date, because I think there's a lot of weddings during that time frame and stuff like that. So,
does anyone know anyone who's great at this stuff, and even if they're not a professional DJ, who would be willing to do it?
Ally list.
There's got to be somebody in town, right? Like,
yeah,
it has to be. And again, it doesn't have to be professional. People have Spotify and Apple Music, just throw it on. So I wonder if there's something along those lines. I'll poke around.
Aaron.
And I still haven't. I'm not counting the barn burners out either. I just haven't reached back out because we don't have like we don't have a schedule yet. So maybe we can talk more about it tomorrow.
awesome.
The other big thing is that, and it didn't fall through the cracks. I mean, I made an agreement and I remember, but is the Farm Fest this weekend. Jen, when we were arranging this whole, her donating the space to us, really wants us to be there this Saturday. So, and Allison, thank you. I have not been feeling well, so I haven't gone to get the paper, but the plan is to have a booth there. I have a table and chairs. I do not have a tent. I'm going to use the leftover paper from the Wings project to do origami, and we can do tulips and also promote the Pride event. I think Allison, you said you already also have t-shirts, so we need to figure out if we want to sell t-shirts. If I'm the only one there, or like me and my kids or whoever else wants to volunteer, I don't think I want to be handling money, but
so I actually have the t-shirts for volunteers to wear. I don't have the t-shirts to sell.
Oh, okay.
Have them.
Got it.
And I can help out on Saturday.
Okay.
So if we won, I mean, that we can certainly sell some there.
Okay.
Especially our kid sizes.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna try to do a flyer, like a small handout for Pride or something, or do some printouts to have at the table, whatever.
And do you want our banner, Amy? Where's our banner?
Good question.
I feel like maybe Karen or Allie, I gave it to you, but I can check downstairs to see if I still have it.
Yeah, if we can find a way to put it up, great. If anyone else has another table, it's bigger than I think the folding table I have, so it probably would need two or a tent or something to attach it to.
I'm going to be away this weekend babysitting, but I have one of those fold-out white tables if you guys want.
Okay.
I could drop it off at your house or whatever.
And I have a 10. I'll be at baseball for, the weekend.
But allies, that's what the allies are for, right? So we can ask allies to come help us volunteer on Saturday.
Okay. I think we could do that, and maybe we can talk again tomorrow about what we want the allies to do, because I don't want to ask them too many things, and then they'll start paying attention to us.
Well, if we could maybe at the end of the meeting, let's look at how many things I said we could have the allies do, like pare down from there. But if we have almost 100 people who are willing to help, you can even send them like, interested in this, contact this person, interested in this, contact that person.
Yeah, so maybe just to confirm for Farm Fest, I did send out that email to the group. So who is available to help out this weekend from this team?
So me and Amy, it sounds like, and Kelly said she typed in the chat that Kelly can help.
Awesome. And I'll try to rally a few other people, friends or family.
Okay, I'll also try to stop by for a few hours, Amy.
Okay, awesome. I'm like struggling just a little this week because I'm so behind, but Kathy and Beth, would you be willing to drop off the table and the tent at my house? It would be like this huge help logistically.
Just give me your address.
It's 9 Tamarack.
That means nothing to me. What is it near?
It's off of Buttonbush and Bay Road.
Bay Road.
Okay. I don't do streets, I do landmarks. So I'll text you before I come.
Okay. Thank you.
Google Maps is a great thing, Beth.
I have my Waze. My sister actually tagged me the other day because some woman just recently drove off a building because she was following her Waze. So it's not too far off.
Did Kristen just post? Oh yeah, Kristen can come Saturday. Great. The last thing, Karen, I wanted to make sure you saw the email I copied you on to Jen, who was getting questions from the Board of Health about food vendors.
Yeah, I responded back.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure that we get Jen whatever info she needs. I don't have a picture in my head since we're not going all food trucks, which was the original plan. I don't know who needs what space and what their setup
Okay.
will look like. And I think that's probably what
Okay.
Jen is going to ask for too.
Okay, no problem.
And then Karen, sorry, the last email you sent, and you sent a similar email 2 times, but I still didn't see what the information that they need is in any of those emails, even when I scroll.
No, I sent everything. I sent the
Okay.
vendor agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, I just sent it to the wrong email address.
Okay.
Or one that didn't exist, and so I had to resend to an accurate email address. That's the only difference.
Okay. If
But
there's
I
any
actually
I'm
sent the
gonna
vendor agreement.
scratch off my list if there's any follow-up from anyone. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was all I had about Pride. I mean, other things have been going on. I'm hoping that we'll have some updates on vendors tomorrow. I will have the meeting. It's the same link as last time, so anyone who wants to come and help out, I'll be there.
Here's my pitch for volunteers. So they're starting to trickle in from high school, but and I'll send it to folks on the committee. And Karen and I had talked to, should we use some sort of sign up genius for volunteers? And I know that some folks won't be able to use or might not be able to go to the whole time. Plus we'll need set up. And I think that there's folks who volunteered to do cleanup. I was not one of those as well. So we can talk about that tomorrow, but I just wanted to put that pitch out right now that now I know where everybody lives. So I will haunt you if you don't volunteer on the 18th.
I think our first step, and maybe we can tackle this week, is nailing down activities and who needs to be where and how many people before we do a sign up genius, so people know what they're signing up for. So let's try to hash some of that out tomorrow.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard because of not knowing how many people might show up.
I know.
It's just,
yeah,
I know.
Yeah. So I mean, I really will say that, again, this is our only kind of spring summer event for the HRC. So I really do hope everyone in the committee can definitely attend and bring a loved one that wants to help too, would be great. Obviously, I know we all have lots of competing priorities, but this is a pretty big one for us. It's our first event like this, and as you know, it takes a lot to coordinate and really want to be able to support the committee on that. So, you know, I know we talked about, and we'll get through it tomorrow as well. I know we had said starting to think through some fun activities for kids and things like that, but that reminded me. So. Just a little bit off topic, but not really. So I joined the Massachusetts Human Rights Coalition meeting this month, or it was in April, primarily to go ahead and solicit some feedback from other HRCs who've maybe done an event like this to see if there was any best practices they could share, any lessons learned. And actually, someone did reach out to me and was kind enough to have a pretty good conversation with me as well about a Pride Fest that they hosted in Winchester. And so Laura Norwich and I connected. She mentioned that Winchester had their very first Pride Fest last year, and it was really great turnout. She mentioned that, you know, some lessons learned from her perspective, and it was the first one that they did, and they're hoping to kind of build off of that every year. But some lessons learned was that she felt that they focus a lot on education. So she said they went to the schools and they had all the school groups and social group stuff kind of come forward and have a table at the event, because they really felt that it was really important to get school age kids involved and interested. So that was a primary kind of goal from their perspective. But she felt that it was a little bit too much education and not enough fun. So she said that, you know, kind of going into this year, they're really kind of balancing that out. And from what she heard from us, by offering food choices and music and activities, it sounds like, she said, you know, it sounds like you guys have that figured out, but that was something that she wanted to share with us, which I really appreciated. She also said, you know, we really shouldn't try to tackle too much. That, you know, our first event coming out the gate, we should just have maybe 1 or 2 goals that we really want to make sure people walk away with, and not try to overdo it, because it is our first time. And and we can continue to build in future years. So anyway, I wanted to share that. Really appreciative of Laura and her feedback. And she said that they are going to have another one this year. I also spoke to another group, another woman who said that they did a parade, and they've done a parade every year. And at the end of the parade, they're going to try and do an event, a little social hour, kind of like what we're doing. But so that was another kind of twist to it as well. So anyway, a lot of great happenings across Massachusetts that sounds like a lot more visibility and interest and focus here in this space. So yeah, any questions for me on that at all?
Did either one mention what their turnout was, like numbers of people?
I think Winchester said they had over 200 people show up.
Well, I also think in addition to us volunteering and working at the event, if we can, really spread the word so that other people attend and really encourage people to come so that we build that.
Absolutely. I invited 76 of my Facebook friends today to the event.
Nice.
And we have some awesome local vendors that have signed up. So we have the Farmer's Daughter, who is going to be a vendor for us. We also have La Odessa, Sweet 16 ice cream truck. I mean, we have some really good ones that have already kind of committed and is filling out paperwork and sending us vendor agreements. So, I mean, I think it's really going to be an awesome event.
Everyone has said yes.
And my kids are facing.
No to me. Every person who
Beth, I'm not keeping track of this. I'm not keeping track of this. I noticed, but I wasn't even going to tell anyone.
I'm like, you're so much nicer. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me.
I said I didn't know it was going to be so hard, but it's so hard because it's mid-June and it's a Saturday, and I think so the quicker we can get these vendor agreements through, the better we'll be. Okay. So please join the meeting tomorrow. It's at 7:30, right, Amy? 7:30. And if you need the link, maybe we'll just send it out to the group one more time, just in case you're able to join. Okay. Feel free to go off camera, Amy. I know you're really powering through to be here with us. Thank you. Okay. Proclamation update. Liz, do you want to give an update on that?
Yeah, I don't have. Yeah. So I don't have much more to update in terms of details. We're planning to do a brief event on Monday, June 20th, which is Juneteenth, and make it kind of late afternoon. So all of our signatories, if they are working that day, can kind of get there from work. The there is still up in the air. We have not finalized the location. I think it's going to be a relatively quicker event, kind of 1 hour, not a big production. So I will have more information at our June meeting. It's moving along, but that's more come in, make an appearance type of thing. So Karen will coordinate with you or Allie as chair and vice chair. And if neither of you is able to make it, at least Kathy or I will be there as an HRC representative to symbolically sign and pose for a picture.
As of right now, I plan to be there.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Great. It is planned to tie in to the launch of a One Book, One Town, but at our last meeting, the particular book was still yet to be determined. So again, I think by our June meeting, we'll have more information on that.
Yeah, we're still working on selecting a book.
Yeah.
I'm confident that we're going to have it next week, Kathy. I am confident.
We will. We have to. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Liz.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, partner collaboration update. So there are a couple of things I wanted to bring forward to the group. So in that Massachusetts Human Rights Coalition meeting, I mentioned the interaction with Laura. I also had the opportunity to engage with the Community and Outreach Coordinator for the Office of Public Affairs and External Engagement at the U.S. Attorney's Office, Kara Henderson. Mm-hmm. And what she said was that she was looking to move forward with a pilot presentation focused on hate crimes and was particularly interested in folks who were willing to sit through that pilot presentation for any feedback. And it was going to be focused on the AAPI community as their first launch. So I did join that. I participated in that pilot presentation. They had really, really good speakers, good panelists full of folks from the U.S. Attorney's Office. They had the FBI, the police chief of Boston. I mean, it was well represented for sure. And I did go ahead and provide some feedback. So the kind of the presentation went through what it is, what is a hate crime, what is some kind of legislation surrounding hate crimes, some examples of some hate crime cases that have come up, and how to report hate crimes because it's such an underreported issue right now. And you know, after the session, I actually couldn't attend for the whole thing, but I attended a majority of it. I ended up sending all of my kind of comments and feedback to Kara directly. And she mentioned that they plan to have a small task force that they'd like to create post that presentation, and was wondering if I was interested in participating in that. And I said, sure. So, you know, the goal would be that they kind of come together and pull together this comprehensive presentation and get it out to community leaders so that, you know, folks understand what a hate crime is, how to report it, and you know, how valuable it is in terms of kind of gathering information and supporting folks who have hesitation about reporting as well. So that still sounds like it's going to be a work in progress, and it sounds like they're not just focused on AAPI right now, but plan to actually move that through multiple racial ethnic groups, and we'll be looking forward to bringing that and to this group as well. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that at all. Okay, great. The other thing is, go ahead, Kathy. Sorry.
No, I just said it sounds great. I think it could be really valuable.
Yeah, I'll say I learned a lot from the session. I learned that some of the hesitancy, you know, around immigration status, for example, like folks are nervous about reporting hate crimes, but because they don't want to have to disclose immigration status, but it was made clear that immigration status was not an inquiry that would be made when a hate crime is reported. I thought that was important to share. So anyway, I think there's definitely valuable information that could be shared with greater communities. Another really interesting reach out that I received over the last couple of weeks is from Kristen Kennedy. She is the Director of Health and Community Services for the town of Easton. And she reached out. We had a meet and greet. I had the pleasure of meeting with her in person and walked through the Frothingham Hall, along with, you know, just a walkthrough of all the various initiatives that she's leading for our town in efforts around health and community services. And I got to see Kelly. And she also shared that she's currently recruiting for a Deputy Director of Community Engagement and Programming. I guess it's a role that has become vacated based on a retirement, and that she was looking to fill that role with a lens on diversity, equity, and inclusion, because she really wants to bring that forward from a programming perspective for the town. So I thought that was so encouraging, first of all, and I thought it was just so awesome that she reached out to the Human Rights Committee in her search to fill that role. So I really wanted to make sure that I brought that forward to the group and let you know that that is a position that is being filled by the town. So any questions on that at all?
If we can go back to the U.S. Attorney's Office, is part of that, I think that there's some education to be done. I'm hoping that this is part of it, of hate crimes versus free speech, and just that whole piece of it as well.
Yeah, I don't think that, I'll have to go back to my notes. I don't think that came up, but maybe it did. I'll have to go back to my notes and circle back around that. But I'll make sure that if I do end up circling back with them for that task force, that's something I bring forward.
Yeah, and I'm happy to sit on anything too, but I know that we struggle in the higher ed space right now with certain things that are said, that there's a First Amendment right to do so. And everybody kind of like hate speech is actually free speech. So there's that. Whereas hate crimes are completely different. So I think that there's a
Right.
little bit of, you know, kind of just learning curve when it comes down to things like that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll definitely follow up on that as well. Okay, so those were the two that I wanted to bring forward. I saw critical race theory training happening with RMK. Kathy, do you want to provide an update around that?
I know they held it last Thursday. I think they were trying to get up to 50 people. I don't know in the end. I was unable to attend, and I don't see Irene here, and I think she was attending.
I was there. I can say a little. I thought it was really informative. I think they only got up to around 40, 45 people, which I think is a lot fewer than they had signed up, which we run into that problem too. I thought it was really well done. I learned a lot. People seemed engaged. The speakers were good.
Yeah, I agree. I think she didn't shy away from any topic, and I think took on and demystified and deconstructed some of the myths that were out there. It's almost, I wish, and maybe she does, has just a fact sheet about what it is and isn't. I think that'd be super helpful for us to even be able to post.
I can ask Denise about that.
I agree. I think that would be a really great resource to have on our webpage.
Okay.
And then if anyone was able, go ahead, Kathy.
The other thing we're doing is working with RMK on the One Town, One Read. And Beth and I are both working on that. We've narrowed it down to 3 books, and we're reviewing those books, and hopefully we'll select one next week. And then it's going to be announced as Liz said, the Juneteenth event, and then they're hoping to have activities across the summer with the culminating in some cultural event in the fall. And there's a number of different people on that committee, but it includes Kristen from the schools, and I forget who else, but there's it's a nice, the library. So it's a good group working together on promoting that.
Great, awesome. Can't wait to hear what the book is going to be. Okay, I wanted to see actually if anybody was able to join the EPS equity series around helping children with anxiety. Anybody get to join that one? I joined towards the end of it. I thought it was so well done, so well done. The speaker was great. She was lighthearted. She provided some great kind of tools and techniques. She had a great website that she referred to with lots of resources. And I'm just really excited to see efforts around behavioral health. So I think it was great. I just wanted to share that with the group as well. Okay, anything else from a partner collaboration standpoint? Kristen, anything more from the, I don't know if they called it Wayfinders, the signage work group? That's okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they selected some signage. We had about 4 meetings. I will send an email to the group so you can see the final decision. And it's, I don't know. I'll send it out and you can into it what was selected. But we did discuss at length the kind of being for the signs to be able to be read by people with visual disabilities. So thoroughly discussed, and I think we landed on a good, simple but nice design. So I'll send that around to everybody.
The group came to the select board on Monday evening. And
What do you think, Craig?
I was very impressed. The landscape architect came and talked about the types of signs. They showed some of the perspective signs, which I thought were really well done. I think it's going to be, as everybody knows, you go through town, you see all these different signs everywhere, and they're all kind of disjointed. They're not, but these are really well planned, easy to read. Designs are nice. I just was very impressed with it. I think the group did a great job.
Thanks, Craig. I agree. So, and I can't wait for them to go up. I had was funny. So I had made a point about, because we picked a dark orange as kind of the accent color, and one of the things is that reds and oranges fade in the sunlight, and the guy from the Department of Transportation said, those signs get hit so much by cars that we don't have to worry about that. We'll get replaced. So,
oh goodness.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's good to know. So
well, thanks, Kristen, for representing the HRC on that. I do think
sure.
that, again, I think sometimes it's the reach out too, that the recognition of this committee and our value to the town, I think is awesome. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Because one other thing, Karen, in terms of collaboration updates, the town has advertised for a social worker to work with the police department to respond to calls where traditionally the police get involved, but in fact, it may be mental health issues. There may be some issues that are not, you don't need a police officer there. You may create some different angst if you do have a police officer there. And I don't think a lot of police officers want to be in those kind of situations. So the plan for some of the ARPA funds is to hire this social worker. And that'll happen reasonably soon, I hope. And I have to give kudos to both Connor Reed and to Chief Sullivan, because they've been in front of this and ahead of this for a long, long time. And it's really significant that they've led that charge, and that we've got the resource to be able to do that.
Thanks, Craig. That's a great update. Again, I think any additional focus on behavioral health is really, really important, especially now.
Is there, are they going to be getting that word out more about this service that's going to be offered?
Are they going to get the word out more?
The police just talking about how they're using additional resources and not, especially.
I think it's been on a number of different sites, but as you well know, Beth, a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen anything. Yeah.
I know they don't engage. I'm sure that when the person is hired, there will be some kind of an introduction, so that people know it's available.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. Any other kind of collaboration updates from anyone? Yes, Catherine.
This is just a follow-up. Maybe when that person's hired, we could have he or she come to a meeting and meet with us, just so we add more information.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other action items that were outstanding from previous meetings? Yep, Liz.
I have two. So one here's a quick one first. For the shirts for Saturday, are we selling them at cost or not? Cost was like 12-ish. 15 would be small profit. I mean, it would be, we have 3 dozen shirts, I think. So it's like maybe $100. But I think if we're going to sell them on Saturday, we should
profit, so we can try and raise the money for other initiatives.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think 15 is a reasonable price for a t-shirt?
Yeah,
Sure.
that sounds good.
Okay, so we'll set it at 15. Okay, so one item that was in our minutes that we said we were going to talk about this meeting was a communication master list of all the outlets for communication, and either having a communication czar or delegating to each of us that we would regularly be the person who reaches out to X outlet. I think, Karen, you had thought that we had a template for that somewhere.
Yeah, it was very loose.
Yeah.
And most of the folks weren't even like still on the committee. So I think we probably are better off almost starting from scratch. But I think it would be good to walk through some of our major categories, right? So, from a school perspective, I think that's Michelle, right, as our school committee member. And then, we can maybe start to work our list down and see where we have any gaps. That makes sense. If people want to just throw out other kind of points of contact, we can go from there.
All right, police and fire, library.
So police should be our civil rights officer, right?
We need to reach out to the fire chief and reestablish that connection. It was very, very loose several years ago. So kind of starting from scratch on that one.
But Justin Alexander is new. He's terrific. John Carroll is the deputy. So to reach out to both of them makes sense.
Allies, posting on our website.
Why? We have contacts there.
Yep, the Y.
Library.
Yep. Brockton Enterprise. There is no more formerly known as the Easton Journal. So Brockton Enterprise would be really the only thing resembling a newspaper covering Easton.
The only time they ever
And is that
responded to Easton was when Donna Whitehead would write something for the Independent, and they just replicate her article in the Brockton Enterprise. And as you may all know, besides not being in print anymore, they reassigned Donna from Easton to Taunton. So we don't have a dedicated reporter. And Dottie and I have had several conversations about that, and we're going to reach out to the higher ups in the newspaper and try to figure out how we can convince them that some of the things that go on in Easton are very positive kinds of things that should be followed by the newspaper. And I don't know if you've ever, if you look on their website, I mean, I signed up for their digital. It's not very good. For example, during the election, they didn't print a lot. They didn't print the letters in support of candidates on the digital thing. They had it in the last print edition. They didn't print all the letters, and they didn't have anything that was submitted to them by the two select board candidates that wasn't in the newspaper or on digital. So it was very poorly done. So we're going to reach out and have a conversation with them about the fact that we really think that Easton and Mansfield, for that matter, which they're not covering again as well, should be covered.
Okay. ECAT, that's another distribution partner. So maybe with this list we've brainstormed right now, Kelly will have it in the minutes. And then, Karen or I or Allie or someone, we can just compile it, determine where or how it should live, so that we can update outlets and update responsible people as necessary.
One thing I wanted to do is for our mailing list. So when we want to have an announcement, is to now work on identifying the organizations in town that have mailing lists and contact each of them and say, can I send you something when we're having an event or whatever, and please circulate it to all of your members. So if we could also come up with a list of those organizations like RMK, like the Moms, whatever it is, club, and whatever else people know of. I also wondered about what happened with the clergy. Did we ever identify a group that we could contact, or?
I can't hear you, Liz.
I think we had,
Can you hear me
I
now?
think we had like different points of contact. Oh, go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, I mean, they exist, but they haven't met post-pandemic. So.
Well, maybe we contact different houses of worship in town.
Yeah,
and
clergy's good. Also, the weekly email from town crier, that's another resource.
But if people can add any other groups that you think that has a mailing list, that I could contact that organization and see about their willingness to spread our words.
Lions Club? Maybe? Do they? I don't know.
Maybe the Lions Club, you can reach out to Andy Parker, who's the president now. Also,
And
the Chamber of Commerce.
Yep.
Do they have mailing lists so they send out things regularly?
Yeah. Yeah, Karen's no longer there, but I can't remember the name of the person who's taken over that role.
The other thing, Kathy, is depending on how we use the ally list to communicate information, it could save you a step if they're on our ally list, with the understanding that they then get that to their respective groups.
Right. Yeah. We could definitely do that.
I have one more action item if we're ready to change subjects. That is the religious holiday observance calendar. So typically in the past couple years, we abandon a July or an August meeting. So what that means is that we need to get moving on that calendar now, because teachers will be doing planning over the summer. Amy typically handled that, but Amy clearly has her hands full with the Pride event. So I'm happy to help with that, but I also feel like we could ask the allies to help out with that. If someone wanted to take a particular religion and just update for that religion. I don't have a lot of bandwidth, but I know this is an important project that needs to get done in the next month. So I would like help, and I think allies could help on that.
You just have to maybe phrase what you want the allies to do, because I'm not sure how to act, what I'm asking them exactly.
Okay. I mean, ideally, I want an ally to say, sure, I'll help you update the calendar. The shorter version is sure, I'll handle the Eastern Orthodox holidays. I'll handle the Buddhist holidays, ideally, because I am that, or I am very curious. So it is very easy for me to look up just this one discrete religion. So, but Kathy, I'll send you an email offline with that content. But that does kind of go back to your earlier point, what are we asking the allies? What does our list look like right now? I mean, one is save the date for Pride, come this Saturday and help out with the calendar. Those are sort of the three biggest ones I feel like we've talked about.
But
newsletter.
I feel like for the Pride event, we may want them to volunteer as well as attend. I was actually gonna, after tomorrow's night meeting, probably figure out what for the Pride event we wanted the allies to do and put that together. Do we really need them to come to the farm event?
No, I don't think so. I think we have, I mean, if Liz, myself, Kristen and Amy are on for this weekend, I think we should be good to go. What do you think, Amy?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think this is, yeah.
Okay, so then let's, again, offline the four of us, just a separate email to coordinate who's there when, doing what, to use people's time efficiently. So we don't need allies for Saturday. We need allies for Pride, and we need allies for the calendar.
Okay.
And maybe if we stagger, so if we're asking for Pride now, and then we, lean in for allies closer to the later June timeframe, that might be good, mid-June.
I'm sorry, the calendar later or the Pride event?
Calendar later after Pride, because we need people for
No.
Pride.
We have to do calendar first. Because ideally, we need the calendar approved at the June meeting to get out to principals and teachers so they have it over the summer. Otherwise, we have to have a July meeting, and sometimes that goes by the wayside. Waiting until August to approve the calendar is too late.
I mean, do we have particular people that we would maybe just, want to solicit specifically to help us with the calendar versus the entire ally list?
So could Amy just speak quickly about what she does when she puts that calendar together?
Yeah, I probably spend 2 or 3 hours going through different versions of religious holiday calendars. There are some really good ones that include everything. But I'm completely aware that I am not an expert in these, so sometimes I don't know. It's always good to have. I would rather have. Oh, I say that I can't. Okay, 2 or 3 hours of comparison, and then formatting probably takes another hour or two, and then send it out to the allies to review it, make any changes, and then I think last time I asked for help sharing it with the schools.
I don't think it's too complicated of an email to say like, help now, religious holiday calendar, email Liz. Help it later. We have a big event coming up in June, and some of it might be a help now organizationally, and some of it might be attend.
Yeah, we can put it all together. We'll see what we get.
Amy, do you feel confident that the schedule or the calendar that you have can be used as a template? And then for the most part, it's just making sure that those dates are updated? Because I think that's huge. It's why reinvent the wheel, just making sure that we're updating those specific dates.
Totally, I'll send everything to whoever wants to take it on.
I mean, at some point, would the school want to take this on? I mean, I know that we did it because there was a gap and that it wasn't being done at the schools. But I mean, is this something that maybe we should see if Michelle might want to coordinate with our superintendent's office and see if that's something that they should want to support going forward? I mean, it's great that we brought it forward and we've done it for the last several years, but from a maintenance standpoint, if that's something that should really be handed off to the schools, because in the end, it's a resource for the schools, right?
And I'm wondering, they're hiring a new HR person. So this wouldn't just be used, I don't know why I'm blurry. This wouldn't just be used for students. I think it could also, it's for their actual employees as well. So maybe that's something that this person could take on.
I can follow up
I thought
with
it was
Michelle
me
about that.
You were blurry.
I know.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say the schools do so much already. Like, this is 5 hours of work. Like, I'm still glad to do it. I just can't do it immediately unless you want it to be a priority, which I can prioritize. I don't know. I just feel like going to the schools and asking them to do it kind of defeats the purpose of us being here and taking it on,
No, that worked. I think to your point, maybe this is just something that eventually, if people want to get it off of their plates, maybe there's more people who get hired, or maybe this new position, it's something that maybe there's an opportunity someplace else as well. Or we continue to have it. I don't think it's need to decide right now.
Okay. Anything else, Liz, from your perspective?
Nope.
Okay. So the last thing I wanted to mention is that there was a notice that was sent out by the town clerk's office around committee term expiration. So if you have received that, please take a look at it. Please reach out to me directly and let me know if you plan to continue, if you would like your kind of term to end, and we'll go from there. I think that there were several. I think there was at least 3 this time around, and I have heard from a few of you already, but just want to kind of close that out and make sure you take notice of that. Otherwise, our next meeting, so let me just confirm, our next meeting would be scheduled for June 7th, Tuesday, June 7th, 6:30. Does that work for everyone?
Is it still going to be on Zoom? When does that end?
July 15th.
Yes, July 15th. I just received a notice on that.
The question's
So
going to be
extended until July 15th.
where and whether or not it can be hybrid. There's going to be a lot of discussions going forward about that.
All right, so we have at least 2 more meetings theoretically.
So June 7th, 6:30 will be our next meeting. Sound good, everyone?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be in the final stretch of Pride planning. So that'll be a good conversation. Okay, I think we've concluded. I don't see any public participation. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Gershman.
Thank you. Can we go ahead and vote to adjourn?
Barger, yes.
Bernstein, yes.
Devonshire,
yes.
oh, Devonshire, yes.
Oster, yes.
Gershman, yes.
I saw Hay moving her mouth, so
I did too.
Allie, you good?
Or Julie, yes. Sorry, do we lose Serge?
Thank you.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, thank you, team. Great meeting, very efficient. Hopefully we'll see most of you tomorrow on Pride planning. Have a great night. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.